Yeah, that's where you say the good old days. And for tonight's good old days, we have scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yes, and what I want to do is send out, if you are interested in scary stories, gosh, I can't speak. Scary stories to tell in the dark. You definitely have to check out YouTube channel. What's his name? John Solo. John Solo does a whole. He's got a whole playlist about scary stories. The whole channel is basically taking different folklore and kind of giving the back history on it, especially folklore that has inspired, whether it was Disney or, in this case, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and so forth. In fact, with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, he's comparing the movie to the books,
right,
to the original folklore that they're based on.
Yes.
So all good stuff. And honestly, that's where I've gotten most of my knowledge about Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, because I never actually read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Boo! Oh, you deprived person, you. This is, again, another one of these issues where Troy may be a little too older than me. So I'll explain to you. I might have been almost at the right age for these. I remembered being in middle school, and of course you have the annual book sale, right? Where they put some books out and you can purchase them. And it's one of the few times where you can get some money off your parents, say, hey, can I having a book sale at school? Don't you want me reading?
Right.
So maybe they'll give you some money to buy some books. And I see this book in the book sale, and I'm like, well, what is this? And I buy it. And oh my goodness,
messed you up, did it?
This is probably the greatest children's books ever written. I mean, they're my favorite. I think if I think of children's books at the top of the list, I want to say audience for this is preteen. That's probably the right age. Like not quite teenager, though. You can still enjoy them as a teenager, but not really too young either. This is a story about the big toe and the kids in the garden, and the boys in the garden. He sees this go out of the ground. He can't get it out. He's like, he wants that toe, and he just gives it a good hard jerk, yanks it out of the ground. Then he takes it home. Mom says, okay, I'll heat it up. We'll have it for supper, as one would do.
Ew.
Right?
Ew.
And then as he's sleeping in his bed, he overhears a voice saying, where's my toe?
Yeah.
Then he hears the steps coming out. The steps creaking and stuff, and the footsteps, and where's my toe? And he puts the sheet over his head, and the thing goes, where's my toe? You got it. It's campfire tales. I didn't tell it as
yes, it is. Exactly.
It's like, in fact, I remember one time I had a scoutmaster in the bookstore I worked at, and he's like, yeah, do you have any campfire stories, like ghost stories? I said, this, and I pointed him right to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. He was very happy. Because this is, of course, the quintessential, these are all taken from folklore. Look at that picture. You open up the book and you see that to your left.
Yeah, that's the artwork really, really is good. Absolutely.
I want to say the artist's name is Stephen Gamel or something along those lines. Sorry, I had it. Actually, let's go back to the beginning. What does it say there? Art by Stephen Gamel. Yes, I got the name right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Collected from folklore. Yeah, and see, and as I was listening to the John Solo videos about this and hearing the basic stories, I was like, gosh, these sound a lot like stories I heard in Boy Scouts, right? Of course, the funny thing, too, is, at least, I don't know if this was true in all the Boy Scout troops, but back in my troop, we'd always get mixed in between the scary, folklore. We'd always have one that was kind of a joke, right?
Yes.
So have you ever heard the one where the guy's in the haunted house or whatever, and he hears from upstairs, if this log rolls over, we'll drown.
Ooh.
Do you know that one?
No.
I'll bet there's people in the chat here who know that one. If this log rolls over, we'll drown. And he's going through the house trying to find and it's scaring the heck out of him because there shouldn't be anyone anywhere. Finally, he follows the sound to the upstairs bathroom, and inside the bathroom, there's a number 2 there with two little mice on the trying to keep their heads above water. If this log rolls over, we'll drown.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I kid you not. And of course we all laugh because that's not scary. That's just gross and it's funny.
There are some of those in these books, the funny, scary stories where it's really just like, I'm the Viper. I'll be coming up soon. Who's the Viper? You know, the guys in this office book. It's like the guy, I'm the Viper. I'll be coming up soon. Then finally he shows us, I'm the Viper. I've come to vipe and wash the windows. It's not. I was asking, these are AAA stories. The Big Toe story, that's actually taken, one of the original versions of that story is The Golden Arm, which was made famous by Mark Twain, though it probably predates him. Okay, the woman with the golden arm that's buried, I think, and someone wants to dig up the corpse to get that golden arm because it's gold, you know, but wants the golden arm back. But there's some good stuff in here. That's from the story about the bride that's playing hide and seek on her wedding day, hides in a big chest in the attic. Lid comes down and she can't get out. Nobody can hear her screaming, and then finally they open it up months later and find her corpse.
Oh gosh.
It's okay. I forget what this is from. Look at this artwork, though, huh?
That the artwork alone is creepy. Yes.
The Viper story was also an episode of G.I. Joe. That's funny.
I'm sure a lot of these have been tapped for different mediums.
Well, keep in mind that Alvin Schwartz, he did his own takes on these stories, but he has a full on. I'll say this is where I guess what the appendices in these books are excellent, because after you're done reading his stories, he'll tell you where they come from. And a lot of these are set in like you know, classic America, but they're actually from all around the world. A lot of these stories, like some from France, one was from Sweden, so they actually come all around the place. This is Harold. Oh my goodness, that's the Scarecrow. This was the scary one where the farmhands are, you know, they create this dummy Harold to scare the crows away. Then at night they bring him inside and they sit him down while they eat, and they start, you know, pretending to give him funny voices, like, you know, but then they start, you know, throwing stew at him and laughing at him, and then eventually Harold starts to grunt and like almost starts to move a little bit. They get freaked out, and I'm not going to tell you how this story ends. It's actually fairly creepy for a children's story. I forget what this one is. There are a few of them that have creepy abandoned churches in them. One of my favorite was the one about the woman that hears the bells for church, and she's like, "Whoa, I didn't realize I overslept." She gets to church, and then she sees people in the church, and they look kind of odd, and then she recognizes someone and realizes that person died last year, and she realizes, I'm in a service for the dead. And then they recognize that and I think her friend tells her this, so like, look, you can't be here. Get out of here before they notice you're here. And then she starts to leave, and then they notice she's alive, and they start grabbing at her. And then I think when she goes to the church later, she finds like the scarf one of them pulled from her, like lying on the ground inside the church during.
Wow.
It's just, I don't know. That's a weird one. That's a comical one. That's about the guy wanting to sell knives. But here we go. Look at this artwork, though. But you never heard of these. These books, I'm sure, got into trouble. I know later editions changed the artwork, and I'm not here to pick on that artist because he had to tone down the artwork, but they weren't the same. And eventually they did re-release these with the original artwork. This was a favorite story of mine. This was about the girl that had to, I guess there was a haunted cemetery. I think she had to go up to the top of the hill and, put a knife in front of the grave to, show her friends that she'd been brave enough to go up there. And she does that, then she can't get away. She's stuck there, and something's grabbing at her dress, and she's like, no, no, no. And she dies of fright. And then it turns out it was the knife she stuck in the ground, got caught in the dress, and that's why she couldn't move.
Yikes! Oh, that's terrible. That is
terrible. They tell it better in these books, obviously. Alvin Schwartz did the retellings. There are a lot of funny things. There's songs in this book. They actually even have the chords in there. I used to try playing them on the piano. Like the hearse song, Did you ever think as a hearse goes by that someday you may surely die?
Yeah.
And he had his own version of the lyrics in this, but he actually has the original oldest song lyrics of this, and the origin story of that song was it was being sung by, I think, an English soldier by during World War One. That's where that originates from. Me Ty Doty Walker. This is a favorite of mine. Makes no sense. It's about this house that's haunted. Every night a bloody head falls out of the out from the chimney, and this rich guy in town is offering $200. Anyone will go up there, and this little boy says, "I'll go up there, but I want to bring my dog," and they agree. And let's just say there's a bit of a tussle of wills between the dog and the bloody head. I'm just gonna say that.
Wow. My goodness.
Dead Man's Brains. I believe that this is a redoing of the Halloween game where, everyone's blindfolded and you send the, what do you call it? The bowls around with like the peeled eye, with like the cold eyes. And the bloody hand. And, you feel the stuff and you're like, ew, and it turns out it's just, peeled grapes or the bloody eyes,
right.
Stuff like that. But, it's all good stuff. I forget what story this is from. They had this in the movie, though. I did see the movie when it came out in theaters. I still don't know how I feel about the movie. Like, I don't hate it, because I understood what the director was trying to do, because these types of stories don't lend themselves to a feature-length movie. You just can't do it. So this was more about these stories exist in this world by this woman that wrote the book, and I think there's like a curse on the book if you read the story or something, then the story gets reenacted in front of you, and you get a victim to it, as I recall. Bowl of spaghetti. Yeah,
so in other words, they're basically telling the basic story from the book, but with the slant of the movie's framing concept.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I actually, I don't know. I should give the director props, because I don't know if I could have done any better. It's just that I do think that certain things just work better as these really short tales that you tell around the campfire at a sleepover or something like that. That's what these are for. But these pictures are great, great hideous artwork. I mean, look at that. Do you remember the urban legend about the Chihuahua? Remember that was a sewer rat? That's this. That's the picture of that in this book. Would you confuse that for a dog?
Well, that's just it. It's like a rat is less, fear-inducing than this, and you bring this home as a pet? Really?
I'm curious. Did Ned ever see these books?
Some of them.
Yeah.
They have at your local.
I saw them in the library. I never, because I told you I volunteered in the library when I was in high school. Right. Never actually read them myself, but I saw them.
They're just a lot of fun. I have the audio versions, which are a lot of fun. You get to hear the them being told to. I think a lot of those are on YouTube, the audio versions too. Yeah. You can still purchase these books with the original artwork. I did try looking for them. For some reason, Amazon, they're charging $20 for it. On Walmart and Target, they're charging like $12.95 for all 3 books in a single hardback volume. So that's a pretty good deal. These were released as separate books. I got the first book, then I found More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and then I found Scary Stories 3. A year or two later, I found Best of Scary Stories, and I'm like, what's this nonsense? Where is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark book 4? Alvin Schwartz, you're being lazy. Go out and write another book. You're just living off the royalty of these first 3. Then I come to know, like in the last couple of years, he had died at that point. That's why we never got a 4th book. But what we got were great classics. These are just a lot of fun. Great for Halloween time or any time of year, to be honest with you. But it's a great little collection. This is, of course, a famous one. This is the one about the spider bite.
Yep. This one was
in the bathtub. Yep.
This one is literally talked about by John Solo in his very most recent video. If you go check out his channel. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'll check it out. That one was featured in the movie too. So the ghost tank goes like this. Back during the days of the Cold War, and the Army got their hands on Soviet T-62 tank, they drove it out into an opening testing range. During the same time the Air Force was testing the prototype A-12, the pilot accidentally targeted T-62 and destroyed, killing the crew and the 40-men cannon. Oh, wow. There's more to that. Okay. There's more to that one. These books are chock full of stories, and it's great that they give the origin, so if you want to do investigating yourself and research he's kind of giving you kind of a leg up on them. But,
well, it's really great for those of us that just are interested in folklore, to know the where these things came from, because sometimes that's as interesting as the story itself.
Yeah, but a lot of fun. Oh, part 3. It says that I'll give you a second, JP.
Yeah.
Ricardo. But yeah, you can still get these. You can buy them individually as 3 volumes in a set, or get them all in a hardback book, which I think is the preferred way. The only trouble with the hardback book is when you're reading it, you'll get to the index and appendices before the second part starts, so you get a little confused because it's basically literally just the 3 books put in there. They didn't like reorganize.
Bound together, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Each book was interesting though. Each book had a different kind of host for the different sections. One had like this ghoulish hobo-looking guy, but like with a hat. Another one had a bat as the host, and another one had an old witch.
Interesting.
So it was actually rather neat. But
cool.
yeah. But anyway, great fun. I'm waiting to see if they're going to do a sequel to that movie, though. They said they were. And I'll say this for that movie: I did appreciate that they did do Mitai Dodie Walker, because that's one of my favorites in this collection. Because it makes no sense, but it's a lot of fun. The one about the dog in the head.
Right.
Here's another one from the book. The slithery D, it came out of the sea. It ate all the others, but it didn't eat me. The slithery D, it came out from the sea. It ate all the others, but it didn't eat me. The slithery D, it came out of the sea. It came out of the sea. It ate all the others, but it didn't. That's the gulping sound. Okay, that was
nice.
I think that's a Scottish thing. That's the
very
origin of that
interesting.
one.
I have a book that I actually took out of the library over and over and over again.
Yes.
And I can't remember exactly what it was called. It wasn't one of these books, but it had similar.
Like a folklore book. Yeah.
And it had poems, and it had, jokes and stuff, all like on a Halloween theme, and it was something about the haunted house or something like that. I took it out so many times that at the end of the year, the librarians all took it, signed the inside cover, and gave it to me as a gift. And yeah, it was really cool. They said, "Look, you're the only one taking this book out. Go ahead, keep it." And there were some really great. Some of the jokes I remember the best. Like, for example, what's the commonality or what's the similarity between a mummy's tomb and lemonade that has no sugar in it?
I don't know.
Sour cough, I guess. Yeah. Some of them are pretty bad, but it's still. I remember that all these years later.
If you remember the name of that book, I'll try to dig it up somewhere.
Yeah, I'll look for it. Absolutely.
But Jesse Green, welcome. Boomer, I'm trying to eat over here. Well, is that from the slurping sound? Yeah, basically. Yeah. That's the slithery D. Okay, Jesse Gardo, part 3. Years later, according to some military personnel, they often report seeing a tank, AT-62, with a red light on top, yet when people go out and look for it, it disappears. You know what? There's some strange stuff out there, right?
One of the things that, not specifically related to this, but just in general talking folklore, John Soule is always talking about, I guess there's this categorization system for folklore, and they tend to take different types of stories and group them together. And I'll tell you, if there's a grouping like that tank story has got to fall under like the Flying Dutchman type story, right? Or all the haunted trains and stuff like that.
But people report those things,
Sure.
Yeah, they do it in Japan. I listened to this one podcast called Kowabana. True Japanese ghost stories from the internet, if you want to believe in these things. And there's some weird ones on there. This new lady from New Zealand does the translating because she speaks Japanese. She stayed over there for a while, so now she writes books and does this podcast about it.
Nice.
So you're hearing Japanese people with a New Zealand accent, right? That's what I think, but it's okay.
I get it.